True progress on the path of Dhamma leads to a gradual dissolution of the ego. This leads to the development of two rare qualities, gratitude and selfless service. Giving Dhamma service is a wonderful opportunity to develop our paramis, especially dana, tolerance, equanimity, and metta. It also helps in dissolving our ego. It is a training ground which will help us to face our problems in daily life in a balanced way. Giving Dhamma service at a Vipassana center can be a rewarding experience. It is also a serious responsibility. Servers are seen as representatives of the center and of the teaching. The best time for Dhamma servers to arrive is one day before a course starts. Then you can help to ensure a smooth start for yourself and the management. Arriving early means you can be shown where everything is and how things work. In smaller centers, it is good for a server to know how the water and electrical connections work. Coming late might mean walking into a hectic place with no idea how to help. All servers should listen to Goenkaji's talk on Dhamma service. Watch this video on how to give seva and read the code of conduct for Dhamma servers. If it is not possible to do so before the start of the course, then you can listen to it on day 1 during group sitting times. Please deposit mobiles, books and laptops so that you don't get distracted in any way during the course. All servers should wear a badge so that they can be identified easily. Dhamma servers are expected to keep the 5 precepts and to keep as much segregation as possible. Female servers should not go into the male areas and males should not go into the female areas. Our main aim during serving should be to be aware and equanimous moment to moment. So if for any reason we cannot sit and meditate or get sufficient rest due to some emergency seva, we should not get disturbed. Instead, we should be with sensations or breath as much as possible. Practicing 3 hours of Vipassana during the course, having access to a teacher and other sevaks, and the center's atmosphere will also help in being equanimous. Servers should try to get at least 1 hour of rest during the day. Respect your own capacity for service so that you do not become overloaded. Dhamma servers should avoid doing anything which might disturb the meditative atmosphere of the course. Speak only when absolutely necessary. Speech should always be truthful, gentle, and beneficial. Avoid unnecessary socializing or speaking where students can see or hear you. Servers should maintain a neat appearance at all times. If you have a complaint about another server, reflect on your own behavior. To avoid backbiting, you should first discuss the problem with the other server. It is important for all Dhamma servers to attend the metta session in the hall each night at 9. The post-metta meeting helps to evaluate and resolve practical problems of the day and plan for the next day. Near the end of the course, you can give your feedback and suggestions to improve the facilities and running of courses. Any complaints should be directed towards issues and not any persons. Instead of a general discussion, it is always better to take up a specific issue at a time and give concrete suggestions to resolve it. If others do not agree, be patient. If you have already raised an issue 3 times, it is time to drop it for the sake of harmony. Once you have started serving, if you notice that you keep trying to assert your views, you should understand that at this time you are not fit to serve. You should better meditate and come out of this egotism as much as possible before you continue with service. If there is a long gap after the last course, the floor should be cleaned again. Find out from the teacher or the office how many rows of cushions are needed for males and females. Lay them out and place the toppers. Make sure there are spare cushions for checking in the hall, not accessible by the students. Prepare the Dhamma seats in the main hall as well as the mini hall with fresh covers. Place pen, paper and torch on the side tables. Check to see that the TV and video for the discourse, mic, disc player, amplifier and speakers are working, as well as lights and fans. Make sure the battery backup system is working and that there are enough portable players and batteries. If there are cells, clean them and check all the light bulbs in the cells and passages and check the door latches. Similarly, the dining hall must be cleaned and set up well in time. Rooms and bathrooms need to be cleaned, and if there is time, check that everything is working. Make sure that the general toilets are clean, and there is enough clean bedding and other items displayed at a convenient place for students to pick up. The assistant teacher's room needs to be cleaned and set with fresh sheets, stationery, etc. On the day the assistant teacher arrives, someone needs to assist with carrying their luggage, and again when they leave. As every organ in the human body is essential, so it is in a Dhamma organization. Everyone who gives service is equally important. But such service is no service unless one is practicing Dhamma. Only then can one reap the wonderful fruits of Dhamma as a result of this service. The registration list and accommodation chart should be given to approved old students who can serve as registrars. They should ensure that the Code of Discipline, old and new student registration forms and pens and folders for the forms are available. It is good to have 2 people on the counter. One registrar should check that the applicant is on the student list. If the name is not there and they are not on the waiting list, give them the Code of Discipline and ask them to wait. If the course is full, ask them to come and check again after 4 p.m. At 4 p.m., at some centers, the registrars start to call the students who have not arrived. All new students should be given the Code of Discipline to read. Each student sits down for a brief interview. Check that the form is complete and signed and all the questions ticked yes. Check that they know when the course ends and can stay without any outside contact. If not, refer to the AT before continuing. Explain to the student that if they have now or have had any time in the past any major mental or physical health problems, then they should meet the AT and mention this so that they can be guided properly. If they are on any medication, they should not stop or alter it in any way, but they should mention it to the AT by noon the next day. Foreigners need to fill up the foreigners registration form, and their passports have to be kept in the office. Their details are later sent to the closest police station. Make a note of requests for special seating like backrest, chowki, chair, or any food requirements, and let pregnant women know that they can have a meal at 5 p.m. If necessary, without being forceful, ask the student to remove any sacred threads, rosaries, or other religious objects they are wearing. Explain that this maintains the non-sectarian nature of the teaching and helps them rely on their own wisdom, not on any external aid. Ask ladies to remove anklets which may make a sound and bangles. One can be kept if they want. If bangles are too tight, they can be tied up. Allocate accommodation, being careful not to put friends together in the same room. Put old and new students separately. Elderly students should be given rooms closer to the hall. Check whether they need Indian or Western toilet. Write the room number on the list and on the slip for the student. Inform students politely if their clothing is not appropriate. If any student appears nervous, overexcited, or is acting strangely, inform the AT as soon as possible. After the interview, file the forms in 2 files, one for old and one for new students. Students should deposit their valuables, books, etc. for safekeeping. Put them in separate bags and note the number of the tag. Mobile phones should be kept separately. Write down the names of those who would like Dobi service, mention the charges and collect the deposit from them. Some old students may want to give donations before the course begins. Issue receipts for all donations received. Tell them that bells will be rung for a light meal at 5 p.m. and later for tour of the center at 6 p.m. It is good if a server can show them how to find their room, notice boards, etc., and help elderly people with luggage. 6 folders are to be given to the teachers. Male teacher will be given 3 folders, one for the old, one for new, and one for the servers. Similarly for female teacher regarding female students. If there is time, sort the old students by number of courses and practice, and the new students by language and age. The oldest first in each case. Make up a suggested seating plan for the hall based on this sorting order. If students need chairs, check with the conducting teacher regarding placement. It is helpful if the student's language is also noted on the plan. For example, T for Telugu, H for Hindi, or E for English. Servers should take the forms to the teachers as soon as the registration is complete or at the time requested. Let them know of any requests. Try to place chairs, chowkis, and backrests in the hall before 6 p.m. In the evening after tea, around 6 p.m., the students should be taken on a tour of the center to show them the main hall, mini hall, general toilets, dining hall, where to keep clothes for the dhobi, hot water point, and mention the time when hot water will be available. If there's a pagoda, the cells can be shown. After that, the orientation talk will be played. Then the servers should be introduced and their room numbers mentioned. Any questions may be briefly answered. The meeting should not last more than 30 minutes. Around 7:40, ring the bell near the residences and check to see if any students are still in the rooms. One server should stand at the entrance to the hall and ask the old students to enter first and take their seats according to the seating plan. Then the new students can enter. Another server should be inside to help people find their seats and make sure they put their name tags to their seats. Once everyone is seated, all the Dhamma servers should take their seats so that the teacher can start the course. During Anapana, keep your eyes open and watch the teacher and students, but don't get up to correct the students in any way. One server must remain outside if late arrivals are expected. Late arrivals, if they are old students, can enter the hall if the formalities like triple refuge have not started. They should later complete registration and go to their accommodation. All new students who come late should be asked to register, interviewed, and sent to their room. The next day, they can be shown their place in the hall. At the end of Anapana, one server will stay in the hall and the others should follow the students to their residences and provide anything they may need, like bed sheets, blankets, etc. Come back as soon as possible to the hall for the 9 p.m. Metta session. After Anapana, the teachers will need any remaining registration forms and the names of any late arrivals. After Metta on day 0, the AT may discuss your duties, and on other days you may discuss whatever problems you have faced during the day with the students. Servers should get up only after the ATs leave. Those who serve must bear in mind that they exemplify to newcomers the efficacy of the Dhamma. If they are devoid of good qualities, they will discourage others from practicing Dhamma. Always go to the dining hall about half an hour in advance. Make sure it is clean and tidy outside and inside. When the food is ready, lay it out properly to avoid long queues and keep it covered to keep away insects, etc. The teacher's food should be delivered before each meal time. When placing fruit in the morning, put signs saying for all students only or tea without sugar. On day 1, at breakfast time, point out the board saying fruits for all students only to all the students so that only all students will take the fruits. If a new student takes a fruit, don't stop them, but when they leave the dining hall, tell them politely that fruit in the morning is for all students and in the evening for new students. During lunch, make sure all the food is arranged properly and put signs like without chili. Just before the students enter, remove the lids and place them facing upwards so that nothing sticks to them. Stand aside when students are serving themselves without looking at them directly. Let them help themselves so that they can take as much as they need. Make sure all the students have come, especially on day 1 at 11 a.m., and if anyone is missing, call them with metta. If students ask questions and you have to speak, lead them to a quiet place to avoid disturbing other students. If anyone is coming late, they should be given the dining hall timings in a note after they have finished eating. If that doesn't help, report to the teacher for further action. When students come for a second serving, it is better that the Dhamma server serves them. Be ready to refill the dishes if needed. In general, Dhamma servers should eat after the students, but if you have some work like compounding or going for interviews, you can eat with the students but on one side. Please don't eat in a group at any time, as you might get involved in unnecessary socializing. There should not be any shortage of food. A little extra left over is a good indication of the right quantity cooked. Clean up inside the dining hall and in the plate wash area after each meal. Check the requirement box after every meal. Unless they have permission, all students should not take food in the evenings. If they do, do not stop them the first time, but politely tell them to take permission from the teacher. Inform this to the teacher also. Students should not be allowed to take food outside the dining hall. Those students who need a meal in the evening can be given it at 5:30 when most of the other students have left the dining hall. It is better for Dhamma servers also to have their meal at this time. Any shortage of food or other problems in the kitchen and dining hall for the day can be discussed after the 9 p.m. server's metta. Remember that you must work without expecting anything in return, with compassion for those whom you serve. They are most important, not those who give the service. It is the job of servers to take care of the students and to give the teachers whatever assistance is needed. It is better that servers help with registration of students. Ask the teachers if they want to meet with the server on hall duty each day at 6:30 a.m. or some other time. Each evening, put up the standard signs for the next day. The first priority is always the welfare of the students. The attitude when one approaches a student should be, "How can I help?" Always smile when speaking to a student and ask, "Is everything okay?" before discussing an apparent problem. If a student wants something, find out the student's name and room number. It helps to have a notebook. Always refer them to the teacher for meditation and health questions or problems. Contact the teacher at any time for urgent problems. When necessary, you can arrange with the teacher for a student to see them privately at times other than the scheduled times. Students may sometimes throw their negativity on the servers. If this happens, try to maintain your equanimity and help the student the best you can. You may wish to meditate afterwards. If you see students talking, take firm action straight away. The right way is you must separate them and ask them to go in different directions. Inform the teacher so that they can explain the importance of noble silence to the students. If a student seems to be very sick or upset, tell the teacher as soon as possible. Avoid getting into long discussions with the students. Avoid touching students unless really necessary. If it is necessary to change rooms of 2 students, after getting the teacher's permission, ask them to pack their belongings, and while all students are in the hall, a server can move their things. After the big bell rings, ring the smaller one near the rooms. Don't knock on the doors or ring the bell near the door, but just ring it while walking in front of the rooms. Students should not be forced to come into the hall at 4:30 a.m. or 1 p.m. The server who rings the small bell should switch off the main switch outside the rooms once the students have left for the hall. In the morning, check that there is hot water. Be prepared to help elderly students in carrying hot water if necessary. If there are water pots, check regularly to see if they have water. If any student dips the glass into the water pot, politely tell them to use the ladle. When students know a Dhamma server is around, they tend to maintain silence. So during their rest times, once or twice, move around the residences. In the night, after metta, also very softly go past all the residences before going to your room. As far as possible, there should always be a server in the hall between 4:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. whenever there are students in the hall. All servers should try to be completely ready by 6:30 a.m., having finished 1 hour of meditation. Don't stop students from leaving the hall during non-group sitting times. Please do not walk around during chanting, instructions, discourse, etc., as the students will be distracted. Servers who have to leave the hall during this time should sit at the back. When the session ends at 6:30 a.m., 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., one server should stay back till all the students leave the hall and the other servers can walk with the students. All students, unless otherwise instructed, should be in the meditation hall for group sittings, instructions, and discourses. In case you have to find a student who is missing, it is helpful to have a copy of the seating chart, which has the name of the student with room numbers. This seating chart should be done by day 1 morning and entries written in pencil so that it can later be changed easily if needed. Make sure you go to call missing students with metta rather than irritation in your mind. Sit down only when they have all come. If any student can't come, please mention it to the teacher as soon as possible by writing on a slip of paper. During group sitting, be alert to hear the teacher getting your attention and open your eyes occasionally to look around. Approach students only if the teacher asks you to. Learn to meditate with open eyes. In daily life, whenever you are disturbed, you will generally not be able to close your eyes and watch sensations. So this open eyes meditation will be very beneficial. If someone leaves the hall during a group sitting, the server sitting at the back should not rush after them or get agitated, but follow them out silently. If the student just wants a drink of water or to go to the toilet, then wait for them and encourage them to return inside as soon as possible. Check with the teacher what actions to take if the students are sitting with eyes open, sleeping, laughing, crying, etc. Avoid walking unnecessarily around during a group sitting, as it might disturb the students. When you wake somebody, don't do it like this. Do it like this. Check with the teacher what to do if the students point their feet to the front. If the student isn't actually disturbing others, then there is no need to intervene. A general rule is, if a student is doing something to disturb other students, then you must take action. To reach a student, take the path of least disturbance. Walk softly with awareness and make sure your clothes don't make a noise or touch the students. At the end of the group sitting, the server at the back should follow the students outside so that they don't have a chance to be alone and communicate. The server sitting in the front should stay back, and if any students want to meet the teacher, they should be directed to come one at a time. Ensure students are not doing yoga, exercises, or lying down in the hall. When calling students back to the hall, avoid gesturing with fingers, but gently ring the bell to get the students' attention. When entering the hall, keep eye contact with the teacher so that she can communicate if anything needs to be done at the back of the hall. Ask the teacher when the checking will be, how many cushions will be needed, and how they should be arranged. Help with calling groups or serve as an interpreter if needed. It is best for an interpreter to sit behind the students. This helps the students to interact directly with the teacher. You may need to help in providing a chair for those who can't sit on the floor. Noontime interviews are private, so either sit out of earshot, whether inside or outside the door, unless you need to translate. Write in your notebook any student requests that the teacher may pass to you, for example, for special meals. If a student needs a chair, backrest, chowki, or if they want to change their seats, they should take the AT's permission. Report to the teacher the names of any students who want medicines, breaks the discipline repeatedly or in a serious way, or who appears to be facing serious mental or physical problems of any kind. Such persons need to see the teachers. Make arrangements for students who need a foreign language discourse. Have an audio backup at 0 volume during the discourse so that in case of video failure, the volume can be raised and discourse continued. In the evening, make sure all the students attend the discourse. The server in each language hall should take a head count to make sure all students are present. If they stretch their legs towards the Dhamma seat or TV, or if they are sitting in too relaxed a way or sleeping, they should politely be told not to do so with a smile and gestures. One server should be in the meditation hall at 9 p.m. during students' question time. Make sure the students don't sit on others' cushions while they wait. Always make sure pagoda pathways and hall is clean without disturbing the cushions. Keep the outside of the pagoda and the hall clean too. At the end of Vipassana, make sure the students do not approach the teacher. If there is a pagoda, a server should sit there, especially when new students are given cells. If a student wishes to leave the course, ask them to see the teacher. If they get permission, ask them to wait until the other students are in the hall. In this way, the person leaving will not disturb other students who may also be facing difficulties and may be thinking of giving up the course. Servers have a great responsibility to see that their behavior inspires confidence in Dhamma in those who are doubtful and greater faith where it already exists. You may need to prepare notice boards the night before Metta Day. Check that old notices are taken down or updated. Put up standard date and signs, course schedules, newsletters, group sitting information, and photos of centers. The display can be viewed straight after Metta when noble silence ends. Feedback forms should be available for the students to fill in if they wish. Take down their postal address with PIN code, personal mobile number, and email ID. Provide a sheet or book for students to inform about repairs needed in their rooms. A table for donations should be staffed continuously while students are around. Also, someone should be on duty to return valuables. Mobile phones are generally returned at 4 p.m. It is a good idea to have a counter for enquiries about Dhamma service. If seva cannot be given for 10 days, then servers can stay from the end of one course to the beginning of the next and help in cleaning and setting up for the next course. If someone is not yet talking at all by lunchtime, inform the teachers. If students discuss any topics unrelated to the course, politely tell them not to do so because the course is not completed. Ensure segregation outside the meeting area and during meals, and that there is no physical contact. Try to keep people from talking near the meditation hall. After making sure all cleaning materials are ready, motivate students to help in cleaning up pagoda, their rooms, and inform about cleaning hall the next day. Short videos may be shown if the teacher permits. Male and female segregation should be observed after the discourse. There are no 9 p.m. questions and lights out is at 10 p.m. Organize the early morning discourses so that everyone comes quietly to final metta on time. Accept dana, report it up to date to the teachers before they leave the course site. At 7 a.m., arrange supervisors for clean-up teams and arrange for cushion covers to be removed if they have to be washed. If there is a children's course that day, don't remove the cushion covers. All the cushions need to be put outside for airing, then put back inside the hall. Serving at the center can be a rich and rewarding opportunity to develop in Dhamma. Integrating what you have learnt during courses and applying it while serving brings depth and maturity to your meditation practice.